Okay, I'm getting ready for a big trip, and my door glass at the back is loose. So I removed the rear cover. So to remove the rear cover, there'd be one screw on either side. One screw either side, and then there'll be one screw on the underside here above the license plate. And that holds this clip on. If you take the screw out, make sure you don't lose that clip. Once you get the cover off, screw that clip back on, and it'll just snap in place. So that clip can go on first. To loosen off this cover here so you can get to the two bolts on the rear latch, there's one bolt here, or one screw there, one screw there. You don't have to take the whole thing off. You can just loosen those two screws and then just push the cover ahead a bit to access the two bolts that hold the latch in place. There's not any room for adjustment on it. It's not like a slot you can slide it back and forth. If your rear glass is loose, it's because one of the bolts came loose. One or two of the bolts came loose, and you just need to tighten it up. You can loosen the bolt, push it ahead a little bit. There is a little bit of play in there. Like there's no adjustment in there. There's just the hole is a little bit bigger than the bolt, so you can push it ahead a bit and then tighten it up, and maybe get your glass to close a little bit tighter. So I tightened it already, but I'll loosen it and I'll show you. See how on the bolt there's a little gap at the back where it's slid ahead. Same with this one, there's a little gap where it's slid ahead. And that's just, I pushed it with my thumb when I tightened it up, so it's, the latch is just sitting a little bit farther in. So to loosen the latch, it is a T30. So to loosen the bolts on the latch, you'll need a T30. And I'm using a screwdriver type. It works best for all the small things. If you get a set of Torx screwdrivers, it'll come in real handy. Instead taking out the ratchet and the socket and trying to find the right ones, you just grab the right screwdriver. And there's so many bolts on this car that are Torx. If you have a good set of screwdrivers, you use like maybe 3 of them out of the set to take apart almost everything on the car. So there I have it loose. And you can see there's not really much movement for adjustment there. But if you do have one side loose, then the latch will hang down a bit and your glass will be loose at the back. So if you want a really tight fitting glass without an air gap there where you pick up all the road noise, then you can just tighten this up, or even if you want it a little bit tighter, just stick your thumb on it and push on it when you're tightening it, and it'll go to the front side of the holes there when you tighten it up. There we go, nice and snug to the front side of the holes. See, there's a little gap behind it where it used to be. All right, all tightened up. You can see there's a little gap behind the bolt where it used to be tightened to, or where it was loose and jiggling and wore the dirt off. So latch is all tight. You don't have to really torque on it, but make it pretty snug. If it comes loose, you can always tighten it up again. So I'm going to put my rear cover back on, and then we'll check how tight the glass is fitting. Got to make sure and remember to put these 2 screws back in. And those screws are a T20. So a T20 to tighten those and loosen them. Or loosen them and then tighten them. Yeah, you want everything nice and snug. You don't want anything rattling in the back. Seeing as how everything's so close. That's another reason I'm doing this. I'm trying to reduce the sound in the cab. Make sure the plastic is clipped back down. Make sure the foam is back in place. I don't know how well this foam works for soundproofing. Probably not that good. I do have some soundproofing stick-on stuff. I might just stick it on the back side of the cover, see if it makes a difference. But I do have the muffler tip routed out already, so that makes it a whole heck of a lot quieter. Instead of the exhaust coming out underneath the car, it's coming out, it's blowing out the back of the car, so you don't get the sound vibration or the sound coming into the car that way. You don't get the exhaust too when you're at idle. It's not coming up from underneath the car, which is another problem in these. When it's idling, even if it's not coming into the cab, the exhaust is still coming into the cab. It comes up under the cab. You know, you got holes in the frame rail, and that travels up inside here, and then you get soot on the top headliner there, coming out there. So I don't know how the gas ones are, but the diesel ones is something you got to contend with, is constantly dealing with the exhaust soot and just the exhaust coming in. So it's a good idea to run your tailpipe out the back. That's my crankcase vent. That's another thing too, if you want to get a little bit extra zip out of the engine and keep it from carboning, or keep it from caking itself up, you can always run the crankcase vent out of the car. I run Rotella in it, so you smell the Rotella coming out with the crankcase vent, and there's a little bit extra smoke coming out, but all in all, I like it a lot better than having the exhaust come out underneath the car. Okay, so where was I? I would have the wire running over top of that, you know, over so it jiggles between the aluminum and the plastic here. It's probably not too good. I think that's how it was routed. Or maybe when this thing is mounted, it's up high. Okay, that's up high anyway. But still, one of the wires crosses over that way. There's not enough wire slack to run it that way. Or is there? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, there's slack to run it that way. Okay, so don't run your wire over top, it goes through the hole there. It's possible it came from the factory with it going over top, but I wasn't paying attention, and I think it's better to route it this way, so I'm going to do it this way. There we go. And you can see that's where the oil goes. If you spray too much, it just gets soaked up in the foam. So if you spray it with some really stinky oil, you're probably going to smell it for a while. And here's the foam. It goes this way. It's cut out to follow the shape of the hatch frame or the tailgate frame. Oh, and the wires come out on top of that. Okay, see, it's got the cuts. There we go. There, something like that. There's the one clip that snaps in, and there's these two clips on the bottom that'll hook in here. See, there's a spot for it there, and a spot for it there. Actually, there's four places to clip in on the bottom, with 4 clips on the bottom of that. So you want to slide it up. So you want to slide it up from the bottom first, and then push in the top, and then snap it in place. Just like that. Make sure your wire's not getting pinched in there, or it's sitting where it's got to be. See, Seems all right. And then you just snap it in. Okay, come on, snap. There we go. I just didn't have it up high enough. Okay, no, that's high enough. It should just snap in. Okay, 1, 2, 3, snap. There we go. So now it's snapped into place. Lift it up a little bit so my keyhole isn't holding it out. Okay, what's going on here? Make sure my holes are lining up. That side is. This side is. Okay, so it's high enough. It's just that, there we go. Just got to get it to go over that keyhole. There we go. Can put the rubber back on. Soft side out, so spongy soft side out. You start on one side and work your way over. Just hook it on the one side. Run it over and then stretch it over the other side. There we go, just like that, and we'll see how well it closes now. I might have hit the latch. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There we go. That's a nice fit and hatch. Yeah, nice and tight. No wiggle in that. There we go. That's just what I wanted. So that's how you tighten up the rear hatch on 2006 Smart Fortwo. As a bonus, if you're a smart car hot rodder and you like to drive around really fast and you're getting a lot of photo radars in the mail, probably not, because the speedometer on a smart car is a little bit faster than what you're actually going, so you're usually, you know, pretty well in the speed limit even if you think you're speeding. But just as a precaution, see the back. See, the back of the smart car is pretty much all white where the license plate sits. And this car came with, it didn't come with the holder. And this car didn't come with the holder. I got the holder from another car. But the holder is black, so when you put the license plate on there, you see the black outline. And it's easier for the photo radar camera to pick up the license plate. That's why when you look at a lot of cars, it's like a black surround with a white plate. It just helps it distinguish, okay, that's where the plate is, and then it reads the plate. So if you have a white car with a license plate holder that's all black, it's probably a good idea to spray paint that white to match the rest of the car. And even though it looks nice at black, it's probably a little bit better to have it white. That way there's less of a chance of getting a photo radar ticket if you're speeding, which you're probably not. So this was black. You can see it was black, and I spray painted it with some primer. Now I'm going to spray paint it with the white. And maybe that'll prevent me from getting at least one photo radar ticket. Maybe. Not on this car, but I used to drive a 1-ton pickup truck that was all black, like a big black truck. And even though I was like so careful all the time, I sped a little bit once in a while, but most of the time I was really careful because I started getting too many photo radar tickets. So even when I was really careful, like know where all the photo radar is, going slow, going under the speed limit, trying not to get any photo radar tickets, because 1 month I had like 5 tickets. So I was still getting them, even though I was trying so hard and driving as slow as I could. I was still getting the photo radar tickets. So I started putting the license plate covers over the car, because, like, you know, you get 5 photo radar tickets a month. And then you get 1 ticket for having a license plate cover on there. So I was just covering the plate with one of those reflective covers so it couldn't read it. It was one of the ones that when you look at it from the side you can't see the plate, but when you're directly behind you can see it. And so after about 2-3 months of that, I got pulled over once, and then after that the cops were gunning for me. I was getting pulled over, you know, like 2-3 times a month for license plate tickets. But it is still cheaper than the photo radar tickets, so I kept it on there for a while. And then I got a different car that wasn't a big black truck, and then it just wasn't a problem. So there is something to, you know, having a large and a black vehicle. You know, white vehicles, they don't seem to get as many photo radar tickets. I'm just guessing. So if you have a white car, you're probably going to get less photo radar tickets than a guy driving a black car. You know, and probably because they can just pick up the plate quicker, or it can pick up, point the laser at the car and know that that's a car quicker than it knows that that's a white car. So it knows that it's a black car speeding faster than it knows it's a white car speeding. So, you know, so anyway, that's my theory, and that's why I'm spray painting this white. Not because I'm getting lots of photo radar tickets, just in the event that I ever do speed through a light or something that like a intersection that has a photo radar camera or something, or for whatever reason the light goes from yellow to red or from green to yellow red, you know, like immediately, and I run through half a red light or something and then get a ticket. I don't want to make it as easy as possible for them. I want to make it as hard as possible to get me a ticket, because I can't afford too many photo radar tickets. So just one little tip to maybe avoid $80 ticket. There we go. There's my white license plate holder.